It's been a long time since I've done a video for you guys, so today I'm doing an install of the newest rapid fire board for the PlayStation 4 controller. This is also the same board style that we use for the programmable remap. So this is going to be a pretty quick video, and I'll show you why. So that's the board. Here's our new controller. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have, there we go. Just want to be able to make sure that everything's in frame for you guys. This is a really simple install. First thing you're going to do is take out all your screws. Now, any of the new style controllers that have the 2U, 2E, 2J, 2G, 2, it'll say model CUH 2CT 2U. This is a US controller. The last two will be 2E for Europe, 2J for Japan, 2G for another region. I don't know what region it is, but I've seen some G ones. 2 anything at the end means that you need this board. If you have a 1G, 1U, 1E, you need the older style board, which is in my other video, looks like that. So, now that we've got the screws out, we're going to carefully pop the cover off and then remove the cable. You don't want to break this. This is pretty important. That's your diffuser. Next, we're going to take the battery out. Then we're going to remove the battery holder, which is actually in with the screw that holds the motherboard in. So, I'm going to do that. Now, next we're going to remove the touchpad. And then we're going to expose the board. Now, first thing you should do, since you have your board out, take some solder and solder it to the R3 and the L3 and the TP up here. There you go. Then, if you want to measure, usually sits about there, and you're going to need one wire that goes to here, there we go, one wire that goes to there, and then the other wire that goes to here. That's pretty short. Get your wires set up. Okay. Longer wire goes on the R3 side. the shorter wire goes on the L3 side. And since your controller is right here in front of you, you can get some extra solder on that point and that point. And you can kind of tell by there's these thick tracers that go to here and here and here and here. So the thick tracers are the grounds. So over here are your points. So like I said, get your board out and flipped over. There we go. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys use flux or not. I use a little bit of flux. The TP point is this leg on the touchpad button. There's a top one and a bottom one. You're going to solder to the bottom one. I like to just tin it up with a little bit of flux and just get some solder on the leg. Doesn't have to be much because you do have some on your TP point for your board up here. Okay, so next. This is fun. If you've got a really steady hand, you can do this on your own. What I like to do is, I like to get a piece of tape, nothing too big. About here, and I just put it here. I don't cover these two holes because the board needs to, you put your LED on this side of the motherboard, the back side, and then you can use your tape to hold your board in place once you have it aligned properly. So again, I like to there we go, and then push it on the tape, and use my screwdriver or something to hold just that side in. Line up the other side and take your soldering iron and just solder that TP point to there. And you can see that, first off, you want your LED on this side, and then, I don't know, I'll try to hold it up to the camera. You can see right here your TP point is soldered from the board, and I have it in, and I have this piece of tape kind of holding it. Now, when you put the motherboard back in, okay, the two holes will sit on the two pegs down in here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I'm going to pull this out. Okay. My screwdriver's kind of stuck. There we go. Okay, so you have a peg here and a peg here that the motherboard sits in, which with the flex board will allow everything to line up perfectly. So basically flip it over and perfect. Now it's back in. Now you can peel the tape off if you wish. I like to peel the tape off at this point because my board is in. Next, I'm going to plug my touchpad cable back in, like that. Pretty simple. Now, your LED goes in the slot that the diffuser from your back cover goes in. So it goes in like that, okay? And then you're gonna flip the board over like that, and you're gonna just use the screw oops. There we go. Just to hold the motherboard in for the moment. Now, if you should happen to have double-sided tape or something sticky over here to hold your board down, that would be great. I found these little things at Staples. They're tiny little double-sided squares. I just put one like right here, and then I peel it off, and it is a pain to get off these things because they're super thin. There we go. Perfect. Then I fold this down like that, and it holds in place. Then I just take my wire and I solder this wire right here. Perfect. And I take this wire and I solder it over here. Perfect. You can adjust your wires, just kind of get them down. I do have other videos on how to install the Remap boards, and whether you're installing a Remap board or you're installing a rapid fire board, they do have, the rapid fire boards have map 1 and map 2. They're optional, they're not needed, but should you want to put on remap buttons on the back of your controller, you can see one of my other videos on how to drill this out, put your tack buttons in, whether you're doing paddles or you're doing buttons, how to glue them in, and then obviously you'll solder your 2 wires to M1, M2, so on and so forth, and attach them to this. But I'm not doing that for this video. This is just a quick how-to for the new style board. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the motherboard down, and I'm going to take this screw back out. And I'm going to put the board back in. There we go. And then the screw back through for the battery holder here. Battery holder cover gets secured with the motherboard down there. I'm going to connect my battery, make sure it's under the latch, and just like the double-sided stickies that I use to hold the board down, by default there should be one there to hold your battery on these new style controllers, and that's it. Then you're going to take your this is so hard to do on camera. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna flip it over this way. Flip it over this way. You're not really gonna see what I'm doing, but I'm basically plugging this cable back into this port here, and it lays the way that you have to plug it in. There's a blue, and then there's pins. The blue faces the battery, the pins face out. So you just put it over and it should plug right in. You could test it by just pressing the start button. You should get your light blinking. Make sure that your LED for your board is in that diffuser area. You're going to slide that diffuser in. That's it. Your controller's back together. You are installed and done. I am going to pause here, and I'm going to move over to the computer to show you how it works. Okay, so now we're over to the computer. We're going to test our controller, make sure it works. The one thing I forgot to say before I paused was make sure you put your screws back in on the back of the controller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in. There we go. I am plugged in. And as you can see, I can hit retry. Actually, no, I can't. I have to hit properties. Okay, now I have my controller up, and anything that I do on my controller, I can test my stick, I can test my other stick, I can test my A. No, there's no A on this controller. It's cross, O, square, and triangle. All four of those buttons work. The four directions of the D-pad work. Up, down, left, right, diagonal, 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 diagonal. Those all work. My four top buttons work, which is my R1, R2, L1, L2. My R3 and L3 clicks on the analogs work. My share and options buttons work. And my power button and my touchpad click works. So I'm going to double click, and you can see in the touchpad sensor bar there, it blinks green, which shows that we have rapid fire. You can see it up there. I'm going to hold all of these. And you get this purple blinking light for your advanced options mode. You press up to save. And then I think it's all four of these to get into the other mode. Yep, you see purple light come on in there. And it's your touchpad click to save on that one. So I know that everything was installed correctly, because I was able to use all my buttons to get into my different modes, and my rapid fire works. So it was a successful install. The instructions on how to use the mod are online. I will put it in the description as well. You'll be able to download the instructions and print them out. So, again, you can see the light from the board that we installed in the touchpad bar. When you enable and disable modes, it's green and red. Purple for options modes. And that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. And thanks for watching.